Hello, everyone. I'm Allison. Thank you for joining me for Where I'm From 204 with Alan. Hello, Alan.
Hi, Allison. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining me. I met Alan at a reading called Dime Grinds, hosted by Tanya Todd, friend Tanya Todd. And I loved Alan's reading that from his book. What is the name of your book, Alan?
Well, the novel was called My Youth and Early Deaths, and it came out with Madville Publishing September of last year.
It's beautiful. It was a really
Well, thank you so
beautiful
much.
reading. Yeah. And so I reached out to Alan just to see if possibly, because he is a poet as well as a novelist, to see if he would have a Where I'm From poem to share. And you have something that you had already written. Is that right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's called Passing the Bronx Jewish Widows Society Home, A Winter Memory.
Yeah.
The
And
title's almost as long as the poem is not quite.
I just thought it really fits in wonderfully with what I'm doing here. So thank you for joining me, Alan. And anytime you'd
I'm
like to
glad to
read
be
it.
here.
Yeah. Yeah. So anytime you'd like to read it, I'd love to hear it.
Okay, Passing the Bronx Jewish Widows Society Home, A Winter Memory. Think ankled in heavy stockings and black lace up shoes with blocky heels, hunched in faded cloth coats, their pinched faces and tight knitted babushkas. The old women were there any day with the slant of sunshine and a break in the winds that swirled ash and dust down the narrow street. Their folding chairs in a row on the sidewalk, their cramped apartments a few flights above. They sat and stared, speaking Yiddish when they spoke at all. I'd seen them for years in all seasons, ignorable reminders that someday I'd be old. But one cold morning, when I'd reached the age of acne, self doubt, and suspicion, hating to be seen, I stared back, fixedly, sullenly, jaws clenched, as I passed. Expressionless, silent, they'd met my eyes, none glancing away, that time or the next. And so I took long ways round to avoid them. Now, old myself in a milder place, I sit on my porch with coffee and newspaper in the mornings, a drink and a book in the afternoons, and gaze at all who pass. And sometimes I take the long way back in thought to stare at the old widows again. I muse on the vanished places where Yiddish was the language of those they loved, and ponder all that might have brought them to the Bronx street where they sat watchfully through the weary days. I recall now the canes that lay by their chairs, the smiles and nods that might have cheered them.
Thank
Thank you.
you. It's one pause, but it's sincere. I find that poem very emotional to read and listen to. And I feel so much of your life in it. And what was it like writing it? And what have you often thought of these women, or is this something that you've returned
Uh,
to with
yeah,
age? Or
I thought of them and I thought of my guilt
Mhm.
for staring at them so sullenly simply because I was feeling insecure
Mhm.
and didn't want to be stared at.
Mhm.
And it was a bad thing to do, as I recall. And as I'm in my 80s now, I'm finding myself looking back and recalling a number of things I'd done, I guess as we all do, but
Mhm.
it certainly becomes more intense as one gets older. I
Mhm.
find myself looking back at incidents where I didn't act well and wish I'd
Mhm.
act better. And that was one that came to mind. And I so I thought I'd write something about it. And the writing about it was a fairly intense experience. Yeah,
Mhm.
a lot of guilt.
And do you feel like writing about it helped, or was an amends of sorts, or like did it change the experience in any way for you?
I wish I could say it did. It did, but it just made the guilt feel a bit
Did
more
it
intense. I mean, I
really?
don't want to overstate it. I'm not racked by this.
Yeah, no, no.
It's a number of moments I wish I had back where I'd maybe maybe if I had smiled and nodded at them, they might have liked that.
Hmm.
It might have made their morning a bit better.
Hmm. And so is that what you wish you could tell younger Alan?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
But teenagers are teenagers. And because I was going through a stage of insecurity
Yeah.
and a certain amount of anger,
Yeah.
um, in a sense, I took it out on them. Um, they meant nothing by staring. I think they just were people in a place where they weren't terribly, shall I say, happy. I just don't know. But whatever had brought them there couldn't have been all that great. And they were just looking at the world.
Right.
And I found that difficult as they watched me.
To be seen.
Excuse me.
To be seen. That it felt uncomfortable to be seen.
I think for some teenagers, many teenagers, it is uncomfortable. I read somewhere a long time ago, I heard the statement that children and animals don't like to be stared at. And I think particularly teenagers don't like to be stared at unless they're extremely confident and feel
Hmm.
that what people are staring at's a pretty good thing.
Hmm. I don't know that people like being stared at, anyone. I mean, I think
No,
that's an
true,
interesting, there is something unsafe in it. I mean, as a person walking around as a woman, it doesn't make me feel
definitely.
safe, right? Like,
Yeah,
what are you looking at? Um,
yeah, exactly. Um, I think these women just didn't have much to see,
of course.
and
I mean, it makes
anything that came
sense
by,
why they
yeah,
would look. I joke with, it's like with with my dog who stares out the window, it's his television, Like, I mean, that was their
exactly,
amusement.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And did you speak Yiddish or do you speak Yiddish?
Did I
Speak Yiddish?
ever
Like, could
speak to
you have
them?
spoken to them if you had wanted to?
Uh, it would have been hard for me
Hmm.
to break through shyness and insecurity.
Right.
Um, I could have. I mean, what I would do today, if I, as an adult, would have been to smile and nod and say, "Hi, how are you doing?"
Right.
Or "Nice day, good to have some sunshine."
Hmm.
And if I could speak to my younger self, I would say, "Yeah, why the hell didn't you do that? It's not hard."
It feels hard though. I mean, I think you do such
To
a,
a 15-year-old,
yeah,
yeah, it felt very hard.
I think you do a beautiful job of communicating that in the poem.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. And I hope that, you writing about, it's just my own personal experience of writing, that we are able to give our younger selves some grace, that we are struggling with things too.
Yeah,
Um,
it's nice if one can do that. It's one of the things I find again at this fairly advanced age that I'm at is that I wake up sometimes in the middle of the night when I can't get back to sleep. I'm running through the litany of all the things I did that I wish I hadn't, or all the things I didn't do that I wish I had.
mhm,
Things not done well, or things that not done at all that should have been done.
mhm. It's hard though. I think.
Yeah, it's certainly hard. I suspect it's necessary. Um, you don't want to be paralyzed by it,
No.
certainly.
Yep.
Um, Scott Fitzgerald, F. Scott Fitzgerald, spoke once of a 3 o'clock in the morning feeling in one's soul.
Yeah.
And obviously, that's a
Yeah.
state you want to avoid. But again, it might be necessary to work through that.
Mhm,
And this poem is a partial attempt to do that, I
mhm.
suppose.
And it's part of a larger work, correct?
Yeah, I've done a number of poems about growing up in the Bronx. They're scattered in different collections I've written.
Hmm.
And I'm living in North Carolina. I've been here since 1965 when I went to grad school at
Wow.
Duke.
Wow.
And then I taught for 53 years at North Carolina State University. And a long way to be away from the Bronx,
Hmm.
but I left when I was 21, but I've carried it all with me, as we all carry, I guess, our childhood with us forever and ever.
I think so. I mean, that's part of the reason I think George Ellis' Where I'm From poem moved me and continues to, because I think that where we're from does inform who we are.
Yeah, yeah. No, I've written a number of poems. If you ask, I've written a number of poems about the Bronx. It's not the majority of my poems, but certainly a significant portion of them.
And I thought you mentioned you had a collection about aging, or
Yes, it's. I've got it out at several presses now, and I'm hoping one of them will take it.
mm,
It's it's called Not Departing Gently, Disassemblings at 80.
you're not
And
going gently into the good night.
excuse me.
Not going gently into the good night.
Yeah, I'm playing on that phrase
Yeah.
by that Dylan Thomas had in
hmm
"Do not go gently into that good night." So
hmm
this is not departing gently,
hmm
taking his words to heart.
hmm Yeah. Well, I hope it finds a home.
Thank you.
It's always I feel like that's always the challenge is finding a home. I love the writing. The finding the home is the part that is challenging for me. Um, I anything else that you'd like to say, Alan, about this poem or your work or anything at all?
Uh, no, nothing I can think of. If you have any further questions, I'd be glad to ask. I'd be glad to answer them.
How do you decide what to write about?
I'm sorry.
How do you decide what to write about?
Oh, there's this old line: you don't choose your art; it chooses you.
Yeah.
I don't choose my topics; they choose me. Something occurs to me
hmm
that I find interesting. It might be in a newspaper article. I did one just recently, and it I read in the New York Times. This was back in February. I didn't get around to writing about it till recently, but I put it in my file of things that I might want to write about. Where,
hmm
of all things, very sad and grotesque at the same time, um, a couple had to sit on an airplane on a long flight next to a corpse.
Oh,
A married
geez.
couple was flying back from vacation, and poor woman sitting next to them suddenly collapsed and died.
Wow.
And there was no place to put the
hmm
body except to leave it
Right.
strapped in beside them.
Right.
And I thought, what a strange and
Yeah.
frightening experience it must have been.
hmm
And I ended up writing a poem about it called playing on an old advertising campaign slogan, "Flying the Friendly Skies."
Yeah, I remember
And
that
it
one.
was the speaker. The speaker was a man who had to sit next to a corpse and had to contemplate um, all the well, all the thoughts, all of the let's say all of the thoughts and all of the ex- expectations that that situation might entail for him. I'll just let this for a second.
It's all right.
Well, had to contemplate, as I say, all of the thoughts that one would meditate on in that kind of situation.
Yes. Yes. Always thinking, when faced with our mortality, it makes us consider. I mean,
Yeah, and this poem I just read obviously comes within the context of facing one's mortality and
yeah.
facing one's past as one contemplates one's mortality. Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you, Alan. I'm so glad that you joined me and read your poem and that we met. Thank you, Tanya, for making this possible.
Well, thank you so much, Allison. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
Okay, I'm glad. All right.